Hey Masters, if you know me and you've been listening to my podcast, you know health and nutrition is number one. Check out AdvoCare products. I am a distributor. Go to livelongersmarter.com. We got everything you could imagine for your health and nutrition goals. If you're interested, at the end of the podcast, at the very end, there'll be more information on the products. Also, LandVoice is one of our sponsors. They have amazing services. If you need leads, please check out LandVoice for FSBO, expired, circle prospecting, a dialer, whatever you need. Go to davidihill.com, affiliates. You can click the LandVoice link and all of the special opportunities will be there.
Get ready for one more sale, inspiring you with ideas through powerful and engaging interviews with top performers of their field. Now, join us as we discuss techniques and strategies of the coolest and most successful people on the planet.
What up, Masters? David Hill here with another episode for you, Path to Mastery. And this week I'm doing something a little special because I am on vacation this week. So I didn't want to just leave you hanging, right, and not do anything. A friend of mine recently interviewed me on his podcast, which, I don't know, I'm putting myself out there a little bit now. His podcast is called Soaring in Sobriety, and he interviews people that have been sober and have been successful in business. I wasn't intending to share this story, although I listened to it and, I thought it was pretty good. And ultimately, the purpose of doing this is there's some people out there that benefit from it. I know frequently not that many people know my story. I mean, I was on Toby Salgato's show and he kind of got it out of me that I've been sober 14 years. So this episode, I'm talking about that and give a little bit of my story and how I got sober and the whole deal. So I get the purpose of this is help as many as I can. So guys, listen, I hope you're having an awesome summer. I will be back with a live interview on the 24th. However, I really hope you enjoy this raw version of Mark Rickert interviewing me for his podcast, which is called Soaring in Sobriety. You rock.
I'm here with David Hill. And Dave, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, man, it's an honor. Thank you. Thanks for asking.
Are you ready to get this sober party started?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, I did some research on you, and you are an author. You've got a book out there that's pretty cool. A little bit different than sobriety, but there are a lot of facets to sobriety that business kind of dovetail into. Tell us about that book on sales.
Yeah, the Sales Playbook is a book I wrote 2014, and it took me about a year and a half to write it. It's just a book about taking your sales to the next level. It's really simple strategies on, connecting with people through sales, prospecting techniques, mirror and matching, systematizing, getting systematized. Mm-hmm. So I think of it as the handbook. Like regardless if someone's been in sales for 20 years, they can pick this up and probably get some tips and a few things that are going to help them take it to the next level. Or if you're the beginner and brand new in sales, I think it's the perfect tool because they can pick it up and it'll bring them through the whole process of becoming effective at sales and really effective on the phones more than anything else, being effective connecting with people via the phone and in person.
So important. And what doesn't seem to be fitting in with sobriety, tell the listeners about sobriety and business and how they actually do fit together very well.
That's an interesting question. I don't know how business and sobriety fit together well, but I guess I can answer the question as to, how balance works. Right. I mean, because, I have my business, I have my sobriety. That's part of my life. It's a lifestyle. Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, I've been sober coming up on November will be 14 years for me, November 7th. So it's a lifestyle now. You know what I mean? And I guess the reason I'm struggling with the question is because I don't know that it does fit at all into my work. I sell real estate. I help people. This is probably the first conversation I've had. I shouldn't say that. Toby Salgato got it out of me on his podcast. But it's not like something I talk about a lot. You know what I mean? And even if people, sometimes people will go out and want to have a drink or something, and I just say I don't drink, and that's it. I leave it at that.
Right.
I don't mention to people, I've been sober for a long time, but it's a big part of my life, right? I mean, I still go to 3 meetings a week. I have a meeting tonight. It's Wednesday. I go to Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I still go to my 2 retreats a year with the same guys. I'm on my knees every morning, every night, giving thanks. It's my lifestyle. You know, the people I hang out with, honestly, outside of the office are people that are sober. I really don't have, I changed everything, lifestyle. I changed my friends. I changed the people I hang out with, the places I go. I'd say it's my life. It's a lifestyle. And then because of it, obviously, I'm able to be blessed with a good business because I make better choices in life now, right? Where I wasn't able to make some of those choices back in the day when I was drinking.
Right. Well, I want to give our listeners a flavor for what you're like. And you did a great YouTube video called Happy 2017, The Year of Abundance. We're going to play a little clip on that and then talk once we get back.
Hello, my friends. I want to start off by wishing you a happy new year and welcome to 2017. Happy New Year, my friends. And I'll tell you what, 2017 for me is the year of abundance. I claim that, the year of abundance. 2017, yeah. And I'll tell you what, for me, 2016 was the year of leadership. And I spent a lot of time, a lot of effort, and my leadership improved. I guarantee you that. And my leadership I will never stop working on that. Don't get me wrong. It's always moving on to leadership. There's this path to mastery. However, 2017 is a year of abundance. And when I talk about abundance, I mean the abundant thinking. I mean thinking beyond what we normally feel is possible or what's comfortable. I'm talking about real abundance. This is abundance, like ABUNDANCE. Abundance. You know, don't worry about my handwriting, but you get it. It's abundance. That's what it is. And abundance is not just money. I mean, money's part of it. Money helps, right? Without money, there's a lot of things you're limited without money, right? Money will help you create more opportunities, vacations, all that good stuff that we want to do. That's part of abundance. But it's also health, right? Health, my friends, relationships, right? Relationships. My handwriting's terrible. Relationships, right? Family, right? So family, right? All those things, my friends, have to do with abundance. So it's not just about the money. A lot of people, when they hear abundance, they think, well, money, and money's great. There's nothing wrong with money, and I intend to have plenty of money.
That's a great clip. Money, health, family. What a great few topics and points that you brought up, David, in that short video. And, you know, the original question about business and sobriety, I've been told by a lot of superstars like you about the business being like sobriety because we start something and we get knocked down. We have to get back up. And so that's kind of the business mindset. And is that very similar to some of the experiences that you've had in your sobriety even?
Well, I'm just going to back up. It was cool to hear that video, and I'm glad you did that because I posted that. I remember posting it now, and I have gotten so far away from that I'm just really, really grateful that you brought that back to my attention. And I think that's life, right? That stuff happens. So really, it was good to hear that, and I think that was some great accountability as well. Because abundance is a mindset, like I talked about, and you know, I honestly, it's been an interesting year. We've gone through a lot of challenges this year, and some growth, and you know, losing some people, and some other things in the business world. A lot of changes. So I'm really grateful that you brought that up, and it really sheds the light on what's important, you know, and really what is important is health and family. And all those things in the relationships. So I appreciate you bringing that up, man. I'm going to go track that video down and repost it myself. Thank you.
It's a great video. I love it because you're so positive and up, and it's just that kind of energy that I need on a daily basis because I leak.
Well, I think we all do, and I think that's why we're all human, you know. And it's interesting. I forget who said it, but it was like, I think Zig Ziglar said it, was that motivation is like a shower. You know, you need it every day. And I'm paraphrasing his quote, but it was along those lines, and I think that's so true. And now going back to your question regarding, you know, business, business it can be up and down. Someone asked me, I forget when we were talking to somebody Actually, no, it was It was Toby's. Like I said, I very rarely talk about this besides in meetings, you know?
Yeah, he has a way of pulling things out of people, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's rubbed a few people the wrong way, unfortunately, but he's good at that too. But I mean, I think he gives an interesting interview. I enjoy listening to him. It's entertaining. But he pulled it out of me. And I think what I realized was when I got sober almost 14 years ago, I jumped right into real estate, and I took that same kind of that addictive personality, of drinking and partying and wanting to stay up and, be in Miami and all the stuff we did at just absurd addictive levels. And I put that into real estate. And that's why I was absurdly successful, my first couple of years. I just went all in, I was like addicted. I was working 70, 80, 90 hours a week, just grinding, hitting the phones, calling FSBOs expireds. I just went all in, and I think that was part of that addictive personality that helped me become that successful in real estate. And now because of it, obviously I'm a trainer for Keller Williams Realty on a national level. I have my book. I've got 2 real estate teams. Yeah, I've been blessed, but I think it all started because of that shift in shifting from this addiction to I hate to say another addiction, but I guess it kind of was in the beginning,
Hey, my wife says my number one love is business, not her.
Well, hey.
I'm not going to cop to it, but, whatever.
Yeah. Well, hey, I plead the fifth.
Right. Anyway, switching gears, because I know most of the folks that have tuned in love listening about sobriety success stories, and you definitely have one of those. Let's talk a little bit about your recovery program of choice. Church, AA, NA, SMART, recovery, CA, anything else? What's your go-to program?
Well, yeah, I'm in AA. I've been in AA from day one. I like I said, I still go to my 3 meetings a week. Same guys, my sponsor, he's been sober 29 years. My, grand sponsor, which is Mike, he's been sober 39 years. His father, 47 years. So these are the types of guys I hang out with. And we kind of have a small groups, I'm not the chair, but I like end the meeting and stuff I go my Monday night meeting where I go every Monday. So I'm kind of like a routines guy. That's it. I'm really structured. And then I have my Wednesday meeting, which is tonight. And then I go to Friday. It's a men's group. They're all small meetings. They're all discussion. And they're all based on the steps. I think the reason I focus on the steps, well, honestly, I just follow the lead, right? I told you about my sponsor and my sponsor's sponsor. Basically, I came into sobriety and I kind of dumbed it down, I guess. They said, do you want to stay sober? And I said, I absolutely. Well, obviously it wasn't that simple, but when I got to that place where I had, first step is, you surrender. I'm powerless. I give up. So I got to try something different. And I listened to them and they said, these are the things you do. You get on your knees. You work the steps, you go to your 2 retreats. So these are the things that I've been doing consistently for, you get on your knees every single morning and every single night. And I just consistently keep doing those things. And I've been blessed that I don't have to pick up a drink.
That's awesome, man. So we know a little bit about your story. You're kind of warmed up, share your story, your battle against drugs and alcohol. I'm not sure if drugs were part of your story, but I believe they were, if I recall. The wreckage it caused in your life when you hit rock bottom. And finally, your journey into sobriety and kind of the light. Share your story.
Man, it's funny. Someone just asked me to chair a meeting about 2 weeks ago. I did. It was an honor. I haven't done this in so long. I remember we used to go out. Like when I first got sober, I hung out with this group of guys from this meeting, and we'd go around and we'd be like on tour. You know what I mean? We'd go to all the meetings and we'd share, and you know what I'm talking. Taking commitments is what we call it in AA.
Service commitments.
And I just haven't done it in so long. And I'd say my story is probably no different than a lot of people. I come from a very dysfunctional family. My childhood, my father was an alcoholic, very aggressive, abusive. At a young age, I was taken away from my family because my father was, beat me up really, really bad. And my great grandmother brought me to the hospital and ended up back with my parents somehow. And, we lived in a car for a while. We drove back and forth between New York and Massachusetts. And the way my father was able to make money was they sold this type of like homemade artwork from street corners. I mean, literally lived in a car for a while, and then I remember living in a step van. My father always, being like angry and a drunk. He didn't really teach me much. The one thing he did teach me was how to fight. So, I
Were you a
learned,
good fighter?
Oh, I was a really good fighter. And the problem was, as a young adult, not really having social skills and not knowing how to handle, anger. I guess for me,
Right.
everything was dealt with anger. I got myself in some trouble as a kid in school. I'd get in a lot of fights. I would, somebody would say something to me and I wouldn't know how to say, hey, I really don't appreciate that. I'd just punch him in the face or something stupid, and then so that was kind of how I dealt with stuff. And, so obviously I didn't have great social skills. I ended up, in high school, ended up in alternative school and just went through a lot of stuff growing up, a lot of trouble, arrested a bunch of times. And then finally I was in court in front of a judge and they said to me, hey, if you, they gave me a chance. They said, if, you're either going to go to this alcohol rehabilitation program for 6 months or maybe it was 90 days. And then after that, I was on probation for 3 years. And
Wow.
Basically they said, if you once you get out of there, if you violate your probation, you're going to have to do some time. And I think it was like a couple of years. It was a good amount of time. And I didn't want to do that. And honestly, I don't know. All I know is I went up there. The judge gave me that opportunity, and while I was up, and I got sober in Springfield, Massachusetts. It was a place called Howard Street. One of the corrections officers up there, his name was Clinton. He ended up turning out to be my first sponsor. I went up there with a bad attitude, honestly, and Clinton, for whatever reason, would talk to me, kind of took me under his wing. He brought me to an outside meeting, and then there was this little old black lady. I don't think I'd even recognize her if she came up to me again. She came up to me one night at a meeting, and she asked me if I was getting on my knees. I was like, no. I don't remember exactly what I said, but she asked me if I wanted to stay sober. Right. And I said, yeah, I do. And she's like, well, are you getting on your knees? And I was like, well, not really. And she said, well, she goes, I know in Howard Street, they tell people to get on their knees, but a lot of people, they sit on their beds so what she said to me was, she said that the act of getting on your knees was the act of humbling yourself. And she said you had to humble yourself in order to get sober. And I didn't really even understand what humbling, I didn't know what any of that meant. I was just, I was like, why is this lady even talking to me?
Right.
But one thing she said to me that stood out was she said that the reason I had to get on my knees was because I was lowering myself to something greater than myself. And for whatever, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I went back to Howard Street that night. And I made sure, I shared a room back then. And I made sure no one saw me. And I just put my knee on the floor and I jumped back up. And man, that was the beginning, And then the next morning, same thing, I did it. And then, after a week or so, I didn't mind if my roommate knew I was getting on my knees. And then after a while, I was, everybody knew. I didn't mind if people walked by in a hallway and saw me getting on my knees. And I really believe, Mark, that was the start. I think that was the start,
right.
Of literally, like I said, like that lady said, that was the only shot I had, was to humble myself to a power greater than myself and ask a power greater than myself to keep me sober. So I truly believe that was when it changed for me. My last drunk was, believe it or not, was at the Miami Dolphins New England Patriots game. Miami, like I said, November 2002. It was just, it was a fun time. We'd all gotten out of our minds. And, all I know is I passed out at the game. I got this really, really horrific sunburn across half of my face because I was... Just that night, we went out to the clubs, just blacked out, and it was just a mess. All I can remember, I did a lot of stuff.
Were you from Miami?
No.
Were you living in Miami at the time?
No, I didn't live in Miami. I lived in Massachusetts, but I just hung out with a lot of people. We just spent time out there. I had some friends out there, so I went back and forth quite a bit. And it was always a great time to go to Miami. It was like the highlights of my life. Yeah. But for whatever reason, this last time around, it wasn't the same. And I always remember waking up that next morning in my bus, waiting for the bus to bring us to the airport. I was looking out at the ocean, sitting on South Beach, and that was when I kind of felt like, wow, I just kind of hope my plane crashes. And I just felt like, I don't know, it was that point in life where I just kind of felt like that, maybe if my plane crashes, I don't have to deal with this anymore. I wasn't happy with myself. Right. or where I was. And then coincidentally, I that was on a Monday, and I had a court case on a Wednesday. And honestly, I didn't think anything of the court case. I thought I was going to be, just leaving, and I went to court. And, I'd gotten so many slaps on the wrist that time. I didn't leave. I was really surprised. I left, and like I said, the judge, for whatever reason, felt bad for me. At least let me go to Howard Street instead of just throwing me in jail. But I left in a van and ended up in Howard Street, which is a state-run alcohol rehabilitation center that is an alternative to being locked in jail. And I got through that. And like I said, that lady helped me by getting on my knees. I got through the program. I got out. I connected with the right people. I started at a meeting called Tough Shit Don't Drink. It was perfect for me. Because it was.
I've heard of all kinds of meetings. I've never heard of that one. That's great.
It was great. It was perfect. I mean, it was a men's group, and it was half of the guys were bikers. The other half just got out of jail. It was angry guys. One night somebody threw a chair across the room. I loved it, but it was perfect for me back then. But all those guys, one thing they had in common is they were all just staying sober. Right? It was all bikers and just off the hook. But the one thing in common was, okay, no matter what, we don't drink. And in the beginning, that was perfect. I don't know that, I think if I didn't get involved in that in the beginning, I mean, we went to NASCAR trips together. A bunch of us guys would go bowling on Friday nights, so I kept myself occupied in the beginning. I did all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And that lasted for about a year or so. And then that was when I met my sponsor that I still have, almost 13 years later. And he introduced me to the steps and some different meetings. And I kind of got away from that just, bare knuckle sobriety, which again, I'm still grateful for. I think it's what I needed when I got home, but he got me into the steps and the steps are about change, right? Changing the person we brought in. So, I guess that's, in a nutshell, that's my story. Here I am, like I said, almost 14 years later. I'm married, which never thought I'd get married. I have 3 beautiful daughters. I own 2 homes. I grew up in a car, right? And I own 2 homes. I mean,
would have thought, right?
We've been blessed, really. I mean, that's all I can tell you is I've been blessed. And, life's not easy by any means. It's hard. I shouldn't say it's hard. I mean, it is what it is. We show up every day. We work hard. We grind. Things, in real estate, shit's falling apart. I mean, it's just sometimes the way it is. But
that's a minute by minute. Things are up, things are down. It's the biggest roller coaster ever.
Yeah. So, I mean, we deal with that. But so, it's interesting having this conversation because now it's thinking back to how you started a conversation with that question about, how does it, my sobriety helps me with this type of business because I'll go home and sleep like regardless of what's going on in my real estate business. I'm grateful. I'll fall asleep. I'll get on my knees and I sleep like a baby. You know what I mean? And I love that. And I've been blessed. And I think sobriety. And there's a lot of guys that I know, man, they don't have a place they can go every week and just kind of share and talk about what's going on. I know a lot of people that, man, they're probably not even alcoholics. Some of them are. A lot of them are actually, but that's their deal. But I mean, there's, for anybody to be able to go to a place like AA and every week and just be, like I said, my small groups are a little different, but to share like what's going on and get that feedback and just let it all out. Man, what a gift.
It really is a gift. It's an amazing gift that we don't even know. Well, maybe some of us do. At least I didn't. I didn't know what a gift it was when it was in my hands.
Yeah. What up, Masters? Don't worry, we're going to get you right back to the show. And if you're looking for more ideas, techniques, tools, and strategies, get yourself a copy of the Sales Playbook. Simply pause the show, go to thesalesplaybook.net, or go to Amazon, type in the Sales Playbook. You rock. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Great stuff. I always like to ask the question about newcomers or even people who have been in the program a while that might be struggling. Newcomers get the most attention, and sometimes that's great for them. But sometimes other folks that have been in the program a while need attention too. And if you were to give some advice to either a newcomer with an hour of clean time or someone who's been in the program a while, what advice would you give that newcomer and or old timer?
Well, I mean, I don't want to give advice to old timers. I mean, I obviously, Path to Mastery is my podcast. People that have been doing it longer than me, I'd rather get their advice, right? But when it comes to newcomers, I would say that, and the reason I say that, Mark, is because I want to follow. Like I said, I follow. Like when John speaks, he's got 47 years. I don't question. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to stay sober. My sponsor, 29 years. He knows how to stay sober. So when they say stuff, I listen to it.
Right.
So I would say there's a piece of advice. If somebody's doing it, and here's the one thing I see, and I've had a lot of people over the years ask me to sponsor them. I recommend, I suggest, hey, this is how I stayed sober. So I can't tell you how to stay sober. All I can tell you is this is what I've done. Same thing with what my sponsor told me. So what I've done is I've got on my knees every morning and I've humbled myself. I've gone, in the beginning, I was going to 5 meetings a week. So I went to a meeting every day of the week pretty much, in the beginning. Sure. I hung out with people that were in sobriety. I remember in the beginning, like I said, I'd go to AA, parties where, people were playing cards, but they weren't drinking, right? Everybody was sober. I'd go to Sober in the Sun camping trips, and we went to NASCAR. But I was always doing things with sober people, right? Those are the types of things that I think we need to get involved in. It's about change. It's not just, it's changing everything. So, I tell, when I sponsor people, I say the first thing I want you to do is start getting on your knees every single day, and I want you to call me every day. And most people are like, well, I don't really get on my knees, or I don't. Well, hey, I can't make you get on your knees. All I can do is tell you this is what worked for me, right? Right. And the interesting part is, most of those guys, unfortunately, don't stay sober. The people that the people that are doing that stuff are the ones that are staying sober. So, I mean, that's my advice. Again, I'm not telling you I know guys that don't get on their knees that have been sober. I know guys that don't work the steps that have been sober. But if you look at their lives, even on the outside, it's not that pretty, most of them. And I could imagine what it feels like on the inside. You know what I mean? And I feel, like I said, I feel like I'm blessed. A lot of gratitude on the inside and really blessed as well on the outside, So I think that's part of working the steps. If that makes sense? I don't know if that's a long answer, but
makes great sense. And David, I know you're a busy guy, and I just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm honored and I appreciate you coming on the show. Just wanted to give folks a chance. I don't know, do you want to get flooded with emails and whatnot? How do people get a hold of you?
I would say the best way is probably on Facebook. Is my Facebook at davidihill.com. You can find me on Facebook that way. My email is david@davidihill.com as well. You could do that. That's probably the best way to get in touch with me. I'm on Facebook. I'm pretty active. And I think my regular Facebook profile is full though, so you can join me through my business page, which is davidihill.com.
Great. And your book again, which is a great book, it's called The Sales Playback.
Sales Playbook.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't even read.
The
Sales Playbook.
Yes. Yeah, and I was gonna say, if you're in sales and you want a copy of it, you just go to Amazon and get yourself a copy, or you go to my website, davidihill.com, and you can order it right from my website. And if you really want to take it to the next level, I do boot camps once a quarter where I work with 20 people individually. We do like a group coaching call once a week, and then everybody leaves with a homework assignments and partners, and we role play, and it's really awesome. So people
there's some accountability in there, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, without question. So we really helped, and honestly, I'm a trainer for Keller Williams. You're a Keller Williams agent, so I don't know that a lot of people understand. It took me 4 years to become certified as KWU certified. So I don't know if people realize that we have 160,000 Keller Williams agents. We're the largest real estate company in the world with 900 offices. And right now, 3 out of 4 people in Keller Williams you talk to would tell you they're a trainer. And they probably are, because you can get certified to teach in your office. However, KWU certified, there's about 125 of us in the whole company.
Yep, very elite.
That have that designation, that go around and teach in different regions. So I'm blessed to have that. I feel like I'm really, really good at training and really, really good at teaching people and helping people become successful. And that's part of the reason why we wrote the book.
Definitely. Well, David, again, thank you for being a part of my show, and continued success to you. Look forward to seeing you at a mega camp or a family reunion or somewhere out and about.
Yeah, brother.
Thanks so much.
It's an honor, man, and I look forward to definitely look me up. I'll be at Mega Camp. It's coming up next month, so yeah, looking forward to it.
Awesome. You have a great day.
You too. Thanks, Mark. Hey, Masters, you guys know how important health and nutrition is to me. I just want to talk to you a little bit about products I use called AdvoCare. I've been using these products for about a year and a half now, mostly just for energy. They've got a really awesome drink. It's called Spark. If you want to check out anything, I would tell you, go check out the energy drink Spark. That's what I did for, like I said, almost a year and a half without even trying any of their other products. And then this past January, a bunch of us, January 4th, decided we were going to do the 24-day challenge, which is a 10-day cleanse and then 14 days of just really healthy eating, vitamins, meal replacement, just awesome 24 days just to kind of get yourself on track and get into some right habits. So Richie Ryan did it with us. Guys, he lost, today's February 5th, I think he's at 24 pounds lost since January 4th. Melissa at our office lost 6 pounds. Min at our office lost 5 pounds. Guys, I mean, listen, it's amazing. Regardless, if your goal is losing weight, my goal wasn't losing weight. I did the challenge just so I could experience it. And, I lost a few pounds, but now I put some weight back on because I started using some of the supplements and the protein powder and all the other stuff. So now I've gained about 3 pounds of muscle and just feel awesome. My energy's through the roof. So whether you're looking for energy or you're looking for just wellness, I mean, they've got some amazing green products that I love taking before I go to bed. Or if you're looking for performance, athletic products, we've got the athletic performance products. And then just active, if you're an active adult, maybe getting a little older in the age and you want to just keep everything working the right way and functioning. Listen, Gary Keller said it best. If you don't take care of your body, where are you going to live? And I just love that. So, hey, I just ask you to check out AdvoCare's products. I'm a distributor, so I'd love to help you, talk to you about your nutrition and health goals. You go to livelongersmarter.com, livelongersmarter.com. If you love what you heard on this episode and you're looking for more techniques, tools, strategies, and ideas, simply go to thesalesplaybook.net and get yourself a copy of the Sales Playbook. You can also go directly to Amazon, type in the Sales Playbook, and buy your copy today.
You are listening to One More Sale with your host, David I. Hill, author of the Sales Playbook. Get your copy at www.thesalesplaybook.net.